Hey everybody, welcome to this Board Game Life, episode number 87. This is the show about board games, anything else we want to talk about. This episode is going to be all about the best games of 2024, according to myself and my good buddy Mark, with the barking dogs.
Of course, the UPS guy is showing up right now with a box of games.
Hello, Kickstarter.
I've been waiting all day.
And it's amazing that it happens like right as soon as we click start. But hey,
Yep.
that's how it goes.
Oh,
there's nothing
all right.
professional about our unprofessionalism.
Nope. I think my son's going to get it. But anyways, hi, I'm Mark.
The guy with the fancy new games.
You know it.
Who knows? Well, I was going to say what showed up might be on your best of 2024 list, but it didn't meet the cutoff.
No,
for the show.
What's arriving right now is actually some old stuff. So, if it's
is the UPS guy coming over and is he hanging out in your house? I mean, they've been barking a long time.
Well, they come in the driveway. They got to back up. It's really dark out where I'm at because I'm in the country, and there's no street lights, so it's real dark.
And the dogs will keep barking until he crosses the state line.
Until he gets out of the neighborhood, out of the city. Yeah, they think they own the street. So
good times.
Yeah, yes. I heard. Okay, the door just closed, so that should be good.
It's like that was like a mute button. That was amazing. Anyway, enough about Kickstarter and the dogs. So we're going to be talking about the best games according to us. These are games that were released in 2024 that we played this year, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But just to get some of the, we'll call it, some of the stuff out of the way, we are on YouTube. We're on the tubes. So we're on YouTube. Mark's doing a whole bunch of videos, unboxings, playthroughs, lots of good stuff. We started those a couple of weeks back, and he's done a ton of content. And look for more to show up there. And also this right here, as you can see, we are video. The podcast is now on video and audio, so you can consume it whichever way you like. You can watch it on the YouTube version, or you can listen to us on your favorite, podcast player. And then also, you can, where else can they find us? They can find us on our website. It's boardgamelife.com. All the content is on there. In addition, you can also leave us messages through there. Send us messages. We've got a voicemail, a little widget on there, so you can send us a recording, or you can, I guess, do it on your phone as well. Just email it to us, contact@thisboardgamelife, and find us on BGG. We've got a guild and all that good stuff. I think I covered everything, didn't I? And yep. We like comments. Mark really likes comments on the YouTube videos. So
I do.
Give him a shout out.
I like knowing what people think, and I do. Someone asked, I don't know if I understood their question right, but it sounded like they wanted a playthrough of something I did an unboxing on, and I'm already drawing a blank on what it was. Oh, yeah, I think it was paperback. So I'm hoping to this weekend actually do like there is a solo for it, so I'll probably run through a solo version of paperback. The new deluxe, was it the 15th anniversary, I think, deluxe edition, anniversary edition, whatever it's called. So I'll probably bust that out and try to do a playthrough there. And also a friend of mine from my gaming group here in town, he was part of the Cardboard Kingdom, and him and his buddy that were kind of started that channel, they were doing playthroughs and recording those. And his buddy moved away, and he hasn't been able to do that. So I was talking with him, and he wants to come on and join us and start doing some playthroughs. So we're going to do our first one this Thursday night. And I don't know what we're playing yet, but I'll see him tomorrow night at game night, and we'll probably figure out what we're going to play. But we should have a kind of a new kind of a playthrough with Nick and I playing something. We might be bringing people in from our game group to join us for larger groups, but that's something that you're gonna be able to see. And I don't have a timeline on it because he's going to be the one to with all the equipment, and he's going to do all the editing and everything on those. So I'm looking forward to having Nick join our team and join me for some playthroughs. So look, you'll have that to look forward to as well.
Okay, excellent. So speaking of games, what have you been playing lately?
Well, what did I get to the table? So I've got to, let me double check this. I got some really, really fun games in the last couple of weeks. I can't remember if I mentioned this one before. I think I did, but Stamp Swap. I played this a couple of times now. I really like this game. This is from Stonemaier Games.
Okay.
And it's not a heavy game. It seems like a lot of Stonemaier, at least my kind of experience with Stonemaier, is like a lot of their stuff is kind of heavier, medium weight to heavy. I think this is a very medium light to medium game. And it's very simple to pick up, but I really enjoyed this a lot. It was more fun than I expected it to be. I kind of stayed away from this for a while because it really didn't sound too interesting. And then I don't remember why I picked it up. I ended up getting it. I don't know. It was a moment of I needed something to buy. I don't know. I don't remember if it was on sale. I don't remember. But
it doesn't need to be on sale for us to buy games.
That's true. But I ended up picking it up, and I really do enjoy the game. Really like it a lot. So that's Stamp Swap.
Yeah, that was one of the hot titles from Gen Con. I remember that.
And I see why. It's good. Played some more Love Letter. That has become, and it's funny, like this is a game that's been around for a long time.
Yes.
And like my game group, like everyone that has played it's like hasn't played it before. And it has become very quickly, like within the first session, first time we played it, has become one of those, it's like everyone wants to play it again. They really do enjoy this game. So nice. Got more Love Letter in. Got to play. Sorry, go ahead.
Funny little tidbit on that one. We, meaning this Board Game Life, we were one of the first media influencers, or whatever you want to call it, that actually talked about that game when it first came out. Yeah, we had a pre-production copy of the game back in the day, and did a huge write-up on BGG for it. And it was that was a long time ago. Gosh, feels like a million years ago.
It was a long time ago.
But now there's like 1,000 versions that have come out since. Which one did you play? Was it the OG, or was it like?
I have.
Or was it one of the?
I think the 2019
versions.
The 2019 edition from Z-Man Games.
Okay.
It's like it's in a little bag, like a felt pouch drawstring little bag. So it comes in a little package. And the thing is it's only got a couple of cards in it. I think it's like 20 cards, a couple little tokens, and that's it. Yeah. It's like you can take this thing anywhere. Very easy game to play, quick, it's fun. It's we've had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that it's like a Z-Man game now. Originally it was AEG.
Oh, really?
It was AEG, and then they sold it to Asmodee, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, something like that.
Huh. Wonder why. It's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next I got to play Dune Imperium, and we played this last week with the game group. And 2 weeks ago. Played this 2 weeks ago with my game group, and we had like the guy that brought it has like every expansion to the game. And I was just like, I felt I'd only played this game once with the base game. And I felt pretty overwhelmed. And like at the beginning of it, I was just like, really didn't know what I was doing because it had been a long time since I'd played it once before. And now there were so many new things that were thrown in. And I ended up winning this game because I basically just kind of built a very strong army and I was able to win in the end. And it was kind of cool. Not necessarily a fan of the game, but I do like that there's so many different things and options that you can do, different ways to kind of go about playing the game. And this time I was just kind of focusing on whooping up everybody in battle every time. So I got to play Codename Pictures. We played this in the game group. I don't care for the pictures one, as I really like the duel. That's a lot of fun. I love the original Codename game. The interesting thing I found about pictures is I actually think it's even harder than the words. So it's like, interesting thing about Codename is you could have this thing, like you see all these words and you get this like idea in your head of like, here's how you're going to give your secrets, right? Your code word. And you kind of go down this path of like, say one of the words is meat. And I'm thinking, oh, I say steak as a clue or something. But someone else looks at that and they think of it as meeting a friend, or they're going to a swap meet. So they don't think of steak and meat because they're thinking when they see it, you sometimes, and maybe that's a bad word because they're spelled different, but I'm trying to get that point across that it's how you kind of, your brain, you look at these things, you think of them, oh, boom, 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 but someone else is looking at them and have a completely different thought process. And you given clues out that you think, oh, this is so obvious, but to someone else, it's not. And with the pictures, it's worse because the pictures can have multiple, because it's a picture and it's not just like a can of pop. It'll be like a can of pop sitting next to a flower, or a flower sprouting out of the can and the sun off to the side or something. It's more than just like a simple image. And they're kind of, some of them are a little abstract. So someone can pick like flower, or there might be a circle or a small wheel or something. So someone on just kind of weird stuff. And so there's more things that you could pick to try to get clues. Instead of a single word, there could be several options on that one picture card. So I think it made the game a lot more challenging, which I wasn't expecting. I guess I thought it would be a little easier than maybe the words, and I think it's not. But it still was really fun. We had a good time with Codename Pictures. I also did stream some solo playthrough of 20 Strong Solar Sentinels. Oh, man, that game is so hard. I don't know how anybody can win at that.
I know, right?
You've got the 20 Strong system, right, Rob?
I think I don't. I've got Solar Sentinels, which is the base.
Right.
And I think I don't have Lamachus or whatever it's called. Because there's 3 of them, right? 2 came with it, or 2 expansions, and then 1 came with it. Solar Sentinels was with it.
Correct. And then there's like Too Many Bones, and
yeah, I've got that one. Yeah.
Hopomachus Victorum, I think, is the other one. And they got a bunch more coming out, but
yeah, I've got them coming.
The Solar yeah, same here. The Solar and I don't know why, because dude, I can't play this game. It's so complicated.
You know what you need is you need the metal magnetic little dial wheel.
I have it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, that's what came in it.
No, that was an upgrade. You missed an upgrade. Okay, go to Chip Theory and order it tonight.
No, because I'm getting a replacement one. I'm getting all new ones with the new stuff coming.
Yeah.
Because I'm even getting new dice. Because I remember hearing a thing about this game where the dice had this weird smell to them, and I didn't notice it.
Oh, really?
Boy, when I pulled this game out the other day, oh man, I'm like, what is that smell? And I picked the dice up and I'm smelling them. I'm like, man, those smell funky. And then I remembered, oh, that's right. This game was, and I do know for their new campaign, they switched manufacturers. They're not using the same company.
No more smelly dice?
No more smelly dice, yeah. And I guess there was a problem with that chip in the little holder. So there's a new one coming.
I got it right here. I'm giving it the old smell test right here on the show.
I want to know, does yours stink? Because boy, mine did.
Okay.
And I can't remember what I said.
Yeah, they smell. It's like a solvent, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not horrible.
It's not horrible, but when I had them sitting on the table, I could tell. It's still like you don't get another game that other dice games don't smell like that.
I wonder if you leave them out, like if you leave them out, if it's gonna like off gas or whatever, and kill all the plants in your room. I don't know.
I don't know.
No, but now that you mention it, I mean, I don't ever recall noticing that smell before. And I've messed with it a bunch. You know, I've played it a bunch of times. So, yeah.
Well, your new set will give you, I think you could select
smell-free.
But if you did like me and went all in with everything, you're going to get a new set of like a new core set.
Yeah,
and it won't be smelly dice. But that game,
the cards also have a smell to them.
Yes, the whole box smells.
and so this is the thing that I was talking about. I'm holding up the
little dial.
Yeah. So it's slightly magnetic,
right,
and stuff, but they have a metal one.
Oh,
that was the upcharge.
Okay, like, I'm gonna wait.
Do you want
to
cheese?
See what comes?
Yeah.
Yes, always. So, if you want to know what 20 Strong Solar Sentinels is, check out the playthrough that I did on the YouTube. I actually played, I think, twice on that stream, and I'll spoiler alert, I got my butt kicked both times. I just don't know how anyone is supposed to win that game, but maybe I'll try it again. Maybe when I get my new stuff, I'll try it. Maybe without dice that smell.
You know, that reminds me of, that's the case with some of these one-player games, because Freedom and Freeze has a game called Friday. And, I've heard stories, I think I mentioned this before, that I've heard stories, it's like, oh, this game's so easy. I was like, failure after failure, lose. Like, I played probably 20 games, lost every single one of them. And then once you get the trick to it, then it's doable. You know what I'm saying? It's like once you pick up on like what you kind of need to do to win.
This one's tough because you have all these dice.
Yeah.
And you're losing your dice.
Yeah.
And you have to upgrade your health and upgrade your, there's there's like 3 different stats. And one can let you pull dice back that you used in that round. And some bosses defeating some of the enemies will allow you, but it's like the yellow dice, you got like a 25% chance of hitting them, and it goes up to like the red dice, which is a guaranteed hit. But you're having to pick how many dice you want to use each turn, and that's so rough. Oh yeah,
there it is.
So that's the trouble. It's like, and if you only get to attack like twice, and you don't pull enough dice the first time and roll, then you're like, okay, do I put more dice in for the second roll? trying to make sure you can defeat them. And if you do, then those dice are gone. And so, yeah, it's tough. It can be really tough.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving on, I did play more Survival of the Fattest. This is another favorite of one of my groups that I'm in. And we really do enjoy that. You and I played Sky Team on BGA, and you were the pilot, and I blame you for killing us and all the passengers. As right as we're about to land, you just completely rotated our plane all the way to the left and crashed us. So thank you for that.
It's your fault.
What?
It's your fault.
I even had coffee ready for you and everything.
I needed more coffee.
Yeah. You and I also finally completed a game of Sobek that I think, what was it, like 60 something days on BGA that we finally got it completed.
Yeah.
And then I did play Mass Effect Priority Hagalaz.
You know what? I got to bring that game to the con. And
do you?
No, it's a fun little game, but it's one of those that if you're taking a turn once or twice a day, it needs to be played in real time, and it's a quick game.
That's a topic that we need to talk about in a future episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like online board games versus in-person IRL board games. So we'll have to do that in the future, but
sure.
Sobek. Okay, well, we'll try it at the con. So, and
it's
next,
small.
just throw it in your carry-on. Mass Effect Priority Hagalaz. I also did a playthrough of this on the YouTube, so you can check that out. And I did get to play this with my group. And everyone really enjoyed this. This is a really, if you like the Mass Effect video game, the kind of overall, so I'm giving some of my thoughts, but also some of those that were at the table that day that we played. We did go through 3 missions. Well, we got to like 2.5. We got halfway through the third one, and the store was basically, we had to quit. And we were about halfway through the final mission, but the comments, I really like it. I think the game is really fun. It is challenging. It does make you kind of think of how you want to manage your character and your moves and what you're going to do. It's a dice roller, and the very first player on each round rolls all the dice. You start with 12. You roll them all. You end up taking 3 out. And as you're going around with the 4 players, each player has less dice to roll and to use. And finally, like the last player they get the last 3 dice. So it becomes more of a challenge for that last player. But then whoever goes last goes first to the very next round. So they do get 2 turns in a row. So it's a neat mechanic. It's a neat how it works. And I think the game, it really does. It was exciting. We just had fun with this, and everyone was a Mass Effect fan at the table. And it was just like, they thought it was a really great translation of a video game to a board game. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. So Mass Effect, the board game, Priority Hagalaz. Again, I did an unboxing and I did a playthrough. And if you want to see it, check it out on our YouTube channel. You can get an idea of what it is, how it plays before you go and get it. And again, this game was like $50. And that was another thing that the group couldn't believe, was like the game is very high quality, and they couldn't believe that it was just $50. And I was the same way. I'm like, nowadays it seems like games cost, if it's not $80, then it's, no good. It seems like so many games are so high priced that this one came in at that price. And I was like, that was good. So, and now with the sales and holidays, you might be able to even find it cheaper than that, because that was right at release. Next, I also played Dorfromantik Sakura. This I have also unboxed and done a playthrough on the YouTube. If you are familiar with if you're familiar with the original Dorfromantik, this is the same game essentially, but it is the Japanese countryside, if you will. So some of the stuff's changed, where instead of fields of hay, it's rice fields and cherry blossom fields and things like that. You have roads instead of trains. You still have rivers, and there's still villages and things like that you're building. And it's the same concept, but there's more things that you will unlock throughout the game. And there are things that aren't in the first game, but you don't have to have the first one. This is not an expansion; it's a standalone.
Very nice,
game. And I like I said, I did some playthrough of this. I love it. I've played now, I think 6 games of it solo, and it's a relaxing game, which I really like. And once you understand what you're doing, you can run through in about 30 minutes. I think I was running average for one game, and they'll probably get a little longer as you go because you're going to get more stuff, more tiles, more things to come into the game. But it is a relaxing, and it's a campaign game where you're scoring. You're trying to score as much as you can each time you play, and then based on your score, you have this big campaign map. Based on how much you scored, you get to make a couple of check marks off on your campaign map. And at certain points, you're unlocking box 1, box 2, box 3. And there's like 6 boxes in the game, and you're going to be getting new things that will, add into future games that allow you to increase your score even more. And it's a fantastic, fantastic game. I really love it. And then the last thing I played, I didn't do a full playthrough, but I set up Ark Nova on the other night, last night, and I was trying to learn how to play it because we're going to play it tomorrow night in my game group. We're going to be playing Ark Nova, and I have not played that one, so I watched a lot of playthroughs, and I'm like, I better set this up because I have it. I just haven't got to the table yet, and I was just sitting here kind of playing, trying to learn it, and it seems overwhelming. There's a lot there. I think I've got it pretty much kind of figured out. It seems like the movement and all that stuff seems pretty easy. The game looks overwhelming with all the cards, and I think the cards is going to be the real challenge. But I'm looking forward. I'll be playing with some people who have played it before, and I'll get an additional knowledge and how to play on that tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to some more Ark Nova. But I did kind of do a dry run, not a full game, because for some reason that was going to take me about 12 hours. I was at it for 2 hours, and it was like my conservation didn't move at all, and I had moved my appeal track for the 2 characters I was playing as a minimum, just doing 2, and that was moving a little bit, but I'm like, this game goes until these 2 cross. The other side I hadn't even moved, so I'm like, we're not going to sit here for 8 hours trying to figure it out. But so I played for like 2 hours just trying to, and the big thing was, okay, draw these cards. I'm like, I have no idea what these cards mean. So I think Rob, you told me earlier, playing it more you'll get to know what it is you need and how they work and what you want to keep and what you want to work on. And so I'm looking forward to playing this tomorrow and playing a full game.
Nice.
So, but that's what I did this week. What about you?
So I have, I played a game of Ancient Knowledge in preparation for us playing Ancient Knowledge. And by the way, I am going to kick your butt. It's already happening. It's already happening.
It is. It's yeah. This game specifically will come up when we talk about the in real life compared to digital versions.
Gotcha.
Because boy, I am having a complete opposite experience. Love the game in real life. I am not enjoying it at all. VGA.
Because you're like minus 57 points.
Oh, it's brutal.
Because you're losing all your knowledge.
I am losing everything. So.
Yeah,
oh well.
If I remember right, last time I saw you were like, you had like 15 knowledge that you just
have lost.
Go by the wayside.
Yep.
And what has 2 thumbs and has 0? This guy.
That guy.
Anyway.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's a fun game. It's been a while since I did anything by Yellow. So that was fun. And then also I got in a copy of Kabuto Sumo Samurai Slam. Yeah.
Kabuto Sumo
Sakura Slam. I'm sorry. Yes. That's what I get for putting KSSL or K. Man, I even did that wrong. It should be KSSS. I don't even. The L was slam.
Nice.
Spelling's hard. Anyway, this is a brand new release from All Play that I kickstarted a while ago, and I think I mentioned it when we were talking about stuff that we backed, because this is very much like, you know, those coin games at the carnival where you roll the quarter into the thing and then it's got a whole bunch of quarters laying flat and it's got a pusher that just goes back and forth and it pushes like all the quarters off, or tokens or whatever you're using. It's along those lines. So you have a playing field with a bunch of discs, which are, you know, basically like wrestlers, different bugs, whatever you want to call it. And you're basically trying to push your opponents out of the ring. So this particular version, this is the second version of the game. Kabuto Sumo was the Kabuto Sumo is the like the original game. Wait a second here. I messed something up. Yeah, so Kabuto Sumo, I got to look this up on BGG because Kabuto Sumo is the original, and then Sakura Slam is an add-on.
Okay. Did you buy an add-on for a game you don't have?
No. I'm looking at the box. There's like a little box. I was thinking I confused the names. But anyway, so Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slam is basically just like that. It's like a wrestling game that you're pushing the discs and your opponents out of the area. And each one has each player has like their own little, we'll call it like special power. Like one of the wrestlers has this wooden piece that goes on one of the four corners of the ring, and its effect that gets triggered is you get to rotate this this piece around that corner piece, and then anything you knock out, you basically take. And then you play the game until either you run out of pieces, and that's when you kind of lose, or you push your opponent out of the ring. So it's a fun little game. It's very interesting. I'm going to play it a couple more times with my son, and then do a little bit of a better report on this. But it was a lot of fun, and I was pleasantly surprised. By the way, I did get an updated Kickstarter wooden ring, which was pretty cool. It comes on this little Lazy Susan. It's the laser cut pieces, and you have to put them together. So it's on a little Lazy Susan. You can rotate it. And one thing I wanted to mention about that Lazy Susan is it comes with a tiny little square. Well, I guess tiny is like 3-4 inch square, but of a really thin material. It's like a shelf liner. the stuff that you put in, like where you have in your cupboards where you put your glasses or plates, that keeps the stuff from sliding around and helps ventilate it and so forth. Well, it's like that. And I mean, it locks that ring into place. At least on my table it does, which is wood, because normally stuff slides all over the place. And, it got me to thinking, like, that should be a part of every gamer's arsenal. If you don't have like a really nice gaming surface, like like one of those felt or mouse pad material surfaces, just get some shelf liner and, maybe cut some squares. You don't necessarily need like a huge piece or anything. Just cut some squares and put it underneath your boards, and then the stuff just won't move. So it's a cool thing. I'm going to give it a try because I've actually got some rolls of shelf liner. Cool. But yeah, so Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slam is the game. So that's it for me.
All righty.
So we got those two.
So how can people reach out to us to ask us questions, Rob? What if they want to comment or question us?
Well, if they want to question you, have at it. But yeah, if you'd like to contact us and
compliment me or complain to Rob.
Exactly. You can definitely do it on the comment section of the videos. You can do it on our guild on BGG. You can email us at contact@thisboardgamelife, and then on our website at thisboardgamelife.com. We've also got this fancy little voicemail widget where you can do a recording, and we'll play it on the show.
Now, are you monitoring that mailbox? Because
yes,
I don't have access to it. So
yes,
so you have to send stuff to me or make sure. It'd be a good question. I'm not sure how we get a voicemail into this.
No,
with the way we have this set up, but
it emails. It emails.
No, but I meant. Oh, I know how we do it. Yeah, so you got to let me know so I can edit in the voicemails.
Yes. Okay. So moving on from that, we got a little bit of news that we want to cover. Just interesting things that have happened in the last 2 weeks.
That is true. We do.
Yeah.
So the first thing I've got is that ex-Elf Creek games designer is trying to save one of the floundering company's Kickstarter projects that has basically gone silent for a long time. So former head of game development at struggling Kickstarter board game specialist Elf Creek Games is working to save one of his unfulfilled projects through his new publishing house. So Paul Solomon, who's the designer of Elf Creek's Honey Buzz and recent Stonemaier Games title Stamp Swap. Yes. Yep. Oh, dude. He did Honey Buzz? Okay. I got to check out Honey Buzz now because I love Stamp Swap. I got to go check out Honey Buzz. All right. There's another one I got to buy. So he left Elf Creek at the end of September, and it looks like he was owed an enormous life-changing amount of money, it says. And basically, the only member of that company left is the founder. Elf Creek, I guess, raised $1.6 million through 8 Kickstarter campaigns following its launch in 2017, scoring big successes for games like Merchants of the Dark Road and Honey Buzz. But that publisher has been in turmoil since it got hit with a $226,000 freight bill for shipping Merchants of the Dark Road in 2022, which was more than 4 times its initial $50,000 estimate after global freight costs soared in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that sucks, dude. If this company was having successful games and it's something like shipping that hosed them, that's wrong. And it sounds like the company was trying to do, I mean, we don't know everything, but the article says rather than hold back fulfillment until prices fell, Elf Creek plowed on in delivering the game at the vastly inflated cost, relying on the entirety of the game's profits, credit, and forecast for future sales. which they just never fully recovered from. Elf Creek revealed last year is also facing a shipping shortfall of almost 80,000 for its Atlantis Rising Monstrosities Kickstarter, which raised 242,000 from 5,000 backers in 2020. Manufacturing costs had also risen about 28%, and estimated that unexpected storage fees from delayed projects added another 3 to 5,000. Blah blah blah. So basically, it's been really rough. So moving on here, let's see. There's donations. So okay, so I'm trying to make sure I'm skipping here. French and German editions of, let's see, what game? Anyways, yeah, this is weird the way it's written. It just says they include Santa's Workshop, which Solomon is now fighting to get into the hands of backers through his new role as creative director for Gamehead, which rebranded from GamerMats last month as part of a plan to expand the Game Mat supplier into publishing board games. Solomon told Board Game Wire that he is attempting to acquire all rights to Santa's Workshop, enabling Gamehead to fulfill pledges to backers, sell remaining stock to retailers and distributors, print more copies, and develop the product line. He added that he had also reclaimed the license to Honeybuzz due to unpaid royalties and is hoping to acquire the rights to existing art and print files so he can control the future of the game. So I think that's pretty much the gist of what I wanted to talk about. I know that like Santa's Villages, I've heard good things about that game. I think this is the one, or Santa's Workshop, sorry. And, I would like to see some more of it. And hopefully that, I'm hoping that, Paul can get this out and into the hands of those that backed. And I think it was Paul actually who, when I did my Stamp Swap unboxing, he actually commented on our video. So I was like, cool. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So good luck, Paul. Hope you are able to secure that and get that to your fans and people waiting for the game.
Yeah, that's pretty tough when unforeseen stuff kind of derails you, because that's happened a bunch of times, not just during the COVID time. Like there was a period, I don't know, in the mid 2010s, I think it was, where the post office basically increased the price of shipping. I forget how much it was, but the Kickstarters, which collected money early, they got hosed big time, right? Because you collected money for shipping and now your costs have really increased.
Yeah.
And, it's one thing if it's the last mile shipping, which, I'm going to call like a post office, FedEx and all that. But then when you have shipping problems from China or Europe or wherever your game is printed, that's going to be brutal, right? If the cost of the containers goes up like crazy. So yeah, we complain about the $30 shipping of our Kickstarters or the $20 shipping of our Kickstarters, but I don't know if I could ship it any cheaper, like going to a FedEx.
Well,
office.
You could wait for it to hit retail and then not pay shipping.
That's true.
And not get the super fancy deluxe edition.
Oh, now it's crazy talk.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. It's interesting, though. I thought the article was interesting. Again, like you kind of commented, like just not. I think we sit here a lot of times and just like, I want my game. Give me my game. I deserve this. It's, well, there is the world and economies of the world and a lot of things, not only shipping, but production costs. And, there's wars going on in the world that are affecting shipping routes and pirates. And it's just, there's a lot going on. And, we should be grateful that for those of us who live in a nation that can have the opportunity to even play a game right now, because there are people who don't. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot of bad things. So, we need to keep ourselves in check of what's really important. So, and we can't, and these publishers can't always control everything. That, like, all those costs are things beyond their control. And shipping going up 4 times due to COVID, nobody could predict that. So that wasn't anything the publisher, had any forethought. Nobody had ever seen anything like that. So
no,
wasn't their fault.
Yeah. And I really appreciate other people, trying to step in to make things happen, because I had that happen with, I backed a game from Minion Games, and then, the owner passed away, and a company came in and, they helped fulfill it, which they didn't have to do. And so, this is definitely greatly appreciated, I'm sure, by everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So my next one is, this might get a little political, but I found this really strange, really, really interesting. But Facebook has banned ads for a Kickstarter from a small historical board game publisher, Fort Circle Games, for the second time this year. This time claiming its game about the history of the U.S. Supreme Court is a sensitive social issue. Fort Circle previously faced a shortfall of up to $60,000 for its Kickstarter for Votes for Women. Its critically acclaimed card-driven wargame about the fight for women's suffrage in the U.S., when Facebook repeatedly pulled ads for its campaign in January. Facebook eventually admitted those ads had been removed in error and restored the campaign. Although Fort Circle founder Kevin Bertman said at the time the unbanning after several weeks of fighting came too late to benefit the Kickstarter campaign. Despite apologizing for its error, Facebook is now rejecting ads for the Fort Circle's current Kickstarter campaign for First Monday in October, which sees players recreating the history of the U.S. Supreme Court between 1789 and 2010. Bertram told Board Game Wire the publisher is facing an identical situation to its Votes for Women campaign, with ads making it through an initial screening and running for a day or two before being removed by Facebook. He added that he requested a review of the situation when he was notified of the issue on Thanksgiving, but said the review has since been denied. Facebook's erroneous removal of ads for Votes for Women were flagged because they either mentioned a politician or were about sensitive social issues, which quote, could influence how people vote and may impact the outcome of an election or pending legislation, end quote. It's a freaking board game, people. So Board Game Wire has approached Facebook owner Meta to clarify its decision to remove the ads, but is yet to receive a response. Now, First Monday in October, designed by Talia Rosen and developed by Twilight Struggle co-designer Jason Matthews, tasks players with competing to score points by advocating for the winning side of cases decided by the Supreme Court and by shaping the judicial philosophy of the court to align with their hidden objectives. The most recent case detailed in the game, Prince versus USA, dealt with whether demanding state and local law enforcement officers to conduct background checks on prospective handgun purchasers violated the U.S. Constitution. That case was decided more than 27 years ago in 1997. So, there's more here, but it's just, social media is everywhere in the world, and I think this is such a bad thing that, and I'm not, this Facebook is in the article, but there's other social media sites that do and are doing the same type of thing. And I think it's bad for these companies to just throw out these algorithms and not really realize the impact they could have. This is a board game. This is not anything that's going to change someone's political beliefs. It's a board game about history. Same with Votes for Women. This should not be something that is blocked by a social media company. And I think it's ridiculous that they have that kind of power to just hurt companies like this for really no valid reason. I just don't see a valid reason for this, Rob. I don't know. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
You know, it's the times that we're in today. For what it's worth, you know, everybody's too sensitive. That's all I can really say.
It just, yeah. I agree. Moving on.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook. It's a board game. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
My last one is that Hachette Board Games has added another publisher to its ever-growing distribution business, scoring a deal to distribute Micro-Macro Publisher Edition Spielwises games in the US and the UK. Edition Spielwises scored significant success with cartoon map-based deduction game Micro-Macro since the launch of its debut title, Micro-Macro Crime City, in 2020. That game went on to win the Spiel des Jahres in 2021, as well as a string of other prizes, including Most Innovative Board Game and the Light Game of the Year in Board Game Geek's 2020 Golden Geek Awards, and the French As d'Or Game of the Year in 2021. More Micro-Macro titles are set to be announced next year, with the line falling under Hachette's distribution in the second half of 2025. So, if you are a fan of those games, more are on the way with distribution to the US and UK, courtesy of Hachette.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing to make mention of that is this is a game that I really wanted to get into, but man, I saw that board or the play board, and I'm like, I just can't. I can't. I need a freaking magnifying glass the size of like a dinner plate in order to see anything. It's the problem with being old.
I think that's probably a problem no matter what.
It's a personal problem.
Yeah. It's a huge map. It really is crazy. There's so much detail on it. So
yeah. I would literally need to play this by myself and then hold this freaking thing right in front of my face in order to play this. Just imagine seeing this across the table. Like, if your eyes are anything, I mean, well, yeah, we both have corrective lenses, but whole different problem. Anyway, there is one additional thing in regards to Hachette, and that's they are going to be releasing a new game called Gwent.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
I know what it's from, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a game from the game Witcher. And The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt?
Yeah, from the video game.
Is the full name of it. So it's a game that was it was a game within a game. And then they made a computer game, if I remember right, because I could have sworn I had it on Xbox. Where it was Witcher, like a separate... No, Gwent.
Gwent. Yeah, I think it was... I believe they did release just Gwent.
Mm-hmm. Separately, yeah.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty sure I played it, although, stuff is a blur from the past. So yeah, this is a 2-player card game, and Hachette is coming out with it. So it's going to include over 400 cards and a play mat. So that's like 6 card decks, 52 card decks.
That's a lot of cards.
And it's a 2-player game, 14 and up. Plays in 20 minutes. We should see it third quarter next year, 2025, and that's going to have a list price of $40. So that's kind of cool. So it's a game from a game that became a video game and then is now a real-life game. And all I can say is this game came out in or The Witcher came out in 2015. What took him so long? What took him like 10 years to come out with this? You would have thought it would have happened sooner. Then the other thing I wanted to talk about was
I blame COVID.
Yeah, PAX Unplugged just happened. Was it last week? Week before? I know it was recent.
I think it was this last weekend.
Yeah. So this is the event that's over in Pennsylvania, in the Pennsylvania Convention Center, to be exact, in Philadelphia. So they have apparently solidified themselves as being the number 2 convention in the United States. So number 1, of course, is Gen Con. And they have surpassed Origins by approximately at least 50%. So Origins in the 2024 show had 17,706 attendees. So they are at least 50% larger than that. So apparently PAX Unplugged does not release official attendance figures, but people in the know, in air quotes, actually, since we're on video, I should do that. People in the know are saying that it's at least 50%, if not 100% larger than Origins. So it's cool to have another big event, right? Something that's gaining traction, and it just shows that the hobby is growing. And I want to say, like, the video game stuff is actually shrinking, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
like E3's gone, and
even
other
PAX
Prime,
West,
East, Prime
is
North, South, down.
Well, maybe it's called PAX West now.
Yeah,
but I one of the guys in my game group went to it here in Seattle this year, I should say, and he said there was a lot more board game stuff there. Because all there's still video game stuff, but it's not the big guys anymore. Like when I went, it was Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just so much smaller now. Like, it's just not what it used to be.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And for the record, Gen Con had 71,000 unique attendees in 2024. So they got a little ways to go. But you figure that they're about up to maybe half Gen Con. But Gen Con's a little bit of everything, right? You know, you got your cosplay people, you got your, role-playing, board gamers, you got, LARPers.
Everything is there.
Yeah.
But for PAX Unplugged only started in 2017. So
yeah,
I would say that's really good considering the pandemic hit and killed everything. That I shouldn't have said it that way, I guess, impacted a lot of attendance in these shows. That they're able to kind of come back and they're growing. So that's really cool. I'm glad to see that. And I did see a video I was telling you earlier of someone attended PAX. Now they did go on the last day.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, look at the amount of space between the booths. Look how much room there is to walk around. And I was just like, oh, I wish that Gen Con had more room. It's just, there's so many people trying to cut down these. They need more space in the aisles. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it was probably really packed.
Yeah.
On day one, probably just like a Gen Con. So,
and they had 400 exhibitors.
Which
is pretty good too. Yeah. Compared to 326 at Origins. And yeah, very cool. So maybe we'll have to hit
pictures that I'm seeing in that article. They're just as crowded. So must have been the last day because those aisles are just as packed. Oh.
Maybe they removed half the people with AI.
There you go. No.
Anyway. All right. So I think that's about it for the news. So let's kind of hit it here with our top games of 2024.
Woo, woo. Woo, woo.
Yeah. So we'll start off, and we're kind of doing this in order, right? So,
I'm going
10 down to 1. So 1
10
is
to
favorite.
1. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I got. Okay. So here, I'll get going with my number 10. And my number 10 is Civolution. So this is one of the games that Stefan Feld came out with this year. And it is labeled as being his meatiest, heaviest game that he's ever come up with. So this is, the designer that tends to do a lot of point salad. That's the term that they came up with, style games. And this game definitely follows that vein. And it is like a point salad bar. So that's how big it is. There's like over 20 resources, over 20 action spaces. It's all the stuff that I've grown to love about Stefan Feld games. So very interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to getting this played more. It's a long game, very long game. How about you? What's your number 10?
My number 10, and the only reason it's a 10 is because it's not a brand new game. And it's one I mentioned earlier, but it's Dorfromantik Sakura. This is like I said earlier, the standalone successor to the Spiel des Jahres 2023 Dorfromantik, the board game. This game, I really love it, but I didn't want to put it higher because everything else on this list is something new. And this was just like more of what we already had last year, just in a new environment where this takes you to the landscapes of Japan, new challenges. And Sakura is the Japanese word for cherry blossom. So it's really Dorfromantik cherry blossom, but the cherry blossoms play a part in the game. You're getting lots of other surprises in this that, expand, I guess, from the original. But I really, really love Dorfromantik, and I've really enjoyed what this game has brought. But so it makes my top 10 of the year. But again, it's 10 only because it wasn't a brand new game, so to speak. It's built off something else,
Mm-hmm.
But it's good.
Okay, my number 9 is Captain Flip. This is a game that we played at Gen Con. And it's a fun little game. It's a fun, light game. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
This one was one that got bumped. It was here. I was surprised how many games that came out this year that I actually got to play. And again, our lists are the games that came out this year that we've played. So it's not our favorites that we play this year. It's those that were released this year that we got to play. So, and I do like Captain Flip, but I got to give it an honorable mention. I agree. This is a really fun game, very light, but it's fun. I like what they did with it, and it's interesting how with this game it seems very simple, but like the tension ranks up as you get near the end of the game, and it's like, ooh, do I flip this tile, or because then you don't know what's going to happen. It can completely change your score and what's going on your board. So I think that's really, really neat for such a simple game.
Okay.
All right. My number 9 is Draft and Write Records. This is from Inside Up Games. This is a really neat flip and write. They call it Draft and Write Records. You're not flipping cards. You are drafting cards. So you get cards in your hand. You're drafting one. You're handing them to you're rotating them around the table. And then, you're going to eventually end up with these cards, and then you're going to to pick one of the cards, you're going to mark it down on your sheet. And as you're going along, you can try to build up bonuses. And, instead of just marking one thing, by the end of the game, you might draw one card. And it's like, I'm doing this, which unlocks that one. Oh, it gives me these two bonuses. And you're trying to chain things together to make the most of scoring points with this band that you're creating and traveling around and doing different shows. And it's really cool. I really liked this one. I think it encompassed the idea of like what it's like to put your band together, get the roadies, go on the road, doing shows, doing like different events, and just better than like probably any other game that I have kind of seen in the genre. I think they did a really great job with this, and I really, really do love Draft and Write Records.
Okay. My number 8 is Through the Desert. So this came out just recently in a reprint from, I believe it was All Play, and it's a fun little game. You got camels, desert, oases, caravans, all the good stuff that Reiner Knizia put into this game in a much smaller form factor. So definitely a fun little game, an oldie but a goodie. So that's the new reprint from Through the Desert.
Cool. All right, my number 8 is a new game from All Play that we both got this year, and that's River Valley Glassworks. This probably deserves to be a little higher, but this one's at 8. I really do enjoy the game. The components are outstanding. It is a real fun game to play, and it's good for, I think, all gamer types. It is a lighter weight game, a short. You can play in about 30 minutes, and it's fun. I like the gems. It's that, it has that tactile feel. It's a bag builder with nice components, and you either get the like acrylic or the glass tiles, and it's just, it's fun. I like the way the game plays, and I think the artwork is really nice. Andrew Bosley did the art, and it's just a fantastic looking game and fun to play.
My number 7, you're messing me up with all of these Roman numerals here. So my number 7 game is Plum Island Horror. So this is a game from GMT, of all places, designed by Herman Luttman. And it's okay, so what is GMT known for? War games, tactical games, strategy games. Instead, they have basically like a card-driven horror zombie game that's got a lot of humor in it. It's as a pleasant surprise. So, and I have to basically say that the humor on this game is fantastic. The game is a little along the same lines to learn as a lot of their other games. It's got 2 manuals to it that give tons of examples and stuff, but it's really well executed, fun game. Highly recommended. So that is my number 7, Plum Island Horror.
All right. My number 7 is something you've heard me mention lots of times, Survival of the Fattest. This is a game that when I first got into the board gaming just a couple years ago, and I kind of dove into the world of Kickstarting, this was the first big, like, full-size board game that I actually plunked money down ahead of time. And then it was pretty late getting here. It was very late, I think a year. And by that point, I was like, I'm not going to like this game. I bought it for, very different reasons. I was new, wasn't really sure what I was like. And this has been a real surprise. This game has just been a lot of fun. The way that all the characters play so differently, and it's just a lot of fun. My group enjoys playing different animals, trying to learn them and how best to utilize them to try to win the game. And I think this game's really unique that it's one of those games where you could play the whole thing and lose because you didn't feed your animal. And you have to feed your animal, otherwise you can't get any points. So it kind of reminds me of Clank. Like if you don't get out of the depths in Clank, no matter how many points you had, you get nothing. You got to get above ground, or you got to get above that line to be able to keep your points. And so it's kind of like that. You got to feed your critter. That's got to be a priority. So feed that critter so you can score your points. But there's a lot of different ways to play. Your characters play completely different. I think they all play off each other very well. I think the game's really well balanced, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a cute game. It's a middleweight game, so the people I've been playing with are really like the more heavier games that I think they're really very medium to heavyweight, and I didn't think they'd like this. In fact, the particular group that I played this with, I really didn't think they would care for it. And it's a constant, hey, bring Survival of the Fattest, let's play that again. It's a great game, and I love it. It's my number 7.
Okay, my number 6 is The Feds. This is a game from Dr. Finn's Games. It's a reimplementation of Gunrunners, which came out almost a dozen years ago. I think it was about 11 years ago that we covered on the show back then. But it's a fun little game. Definitely enjoy even the newly redone version as The Feds. And it's a card-driven game where you have cards on the side of these like dice boards, and not dice boards. Forgot what they call them. Warehouse. They're different places, and highly recommend the game. A lot of fun. Feds.
Cool. All right, my number 6 is Tower Up. This is from Monolith Games. This is a lot of fun. This is one that one of the people in my game group is actually a board game designer himself, has made several games, and he came one night because he knew I was bringing this game and he wanted to try it, and he has since actually purchased this game for himself and some others, friends of his. And absolutely, it's just been a fun game of building your skyscrapers up and following the rules of how to build. And it's, there's these goals that everyone can try to achieve. So it's like a race to get these goals that are available, public goals. You're trying to race to get those first, to get the max amount of points for completing those first. But you got to follow building rules of how you build, and you've got to keep getting material, and people are going to top your building and build up off of where you built. And it's just, it's been a lot of fun. It's not a hard game, but it is a lot of fun, and it plays relatively quickly, definitely less than an hour. And that is Tower Up, my number 6.
My number 5 is a game that we talked about earlier, is Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slam. So, I don't know what else I can say about it. Definitely fun, looking to play some more to it. And I do like the physical aspect of it, of just, not pushing people's components off is a lot of fun. I want to say it's similar to the satisfaction that you get from plunking people into volcanoes.
Like I was just there and ask, there seems to be a similarity there.
Yeah. A little bit of take that action, I guess.
Yeah.
But you strategically do it, because I don't think I mentioned this. There's a platform that you get with the game. So you get the main ring and you get a platform, and then you can adjust this platform on different corners. So you strategically choose which direction to push from. So you can sit there and you can like taunt people, like, I'm going to get your piece off. And, they can be hanging on the edge as they can't wait to see what happens next. Are they going to make it or not? Anyway, so that was my number 5, Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slam.
All right. My number 5 is one I mentioned earlier, Mass Effect, the board game, Priority Hagalaz. This game has just been a tremendous amount of fun. You can play it by yourself, but you have to control all 4 characters. And that can get a little overwhelming. And I find it's much better if you can have 4 players, because no matter what, you always playing with 4 characters, just like in the video game. But it's such a fun game. I kind of compare this to Star Wars The Mandalorian Adventures, which came out a little bit earlier this year. But I like this one so much better. I feel like it just plays, though they're similar, they do play differently. And this one just works. This one is fun. I love that the way they've been able to kind of capture the skill abilities and how they play in the game. Garrus is there as your sniper. You can have Rex come in and he's your melee guy, and you can, level your guys up to unlock skills, and it just makes your characters makes them stronger and more capable for the increasingly harder missions that will follow. And it's just, it's fantastic. You can do loyalty missions for 2 of your 3 people that you take on the mission with you. And they will, if you are successful there, they will that one person that you did the loyalty mission will have a special skill unlock for them. So it's a way to just try to maximize your team's efficiency. So when you get to that final mission, which will be brutal, that you can complete it successfully. So awesome. Mass Effect board game, Priority Hagalaz is my number 5.
My number 4 is Let's Go to Japan. So this is a game from AEG. It came out earlier this year. It was on Kickstarter, and it's about having a fun trip to Japan. It's just interesting when you hear like what these games are. But you're visiting Japan, and I got the Kickstarter version, which came with these nice bowls, actually ceramic bowls, which kind of like up the gaming goodness. Yeah, there you go.
I was going to show you something while I was waiting for someone to show up to record tonight. I was boxing some things up because what came in the mail today were some upgraded components for my Let's Go to Japan game. And one of the things is these, it's like a little printed the wild token. It's not a piece of cardboard anymore. And it's actually got like cutouts. So it's like a 3-dimensional, it's hard to see on the camera, I suppose, but it's like a 3-dimensional wild token. And then, whoops, my little, what does it, go for a walk? I think is one of the options you can do. Instead of I've got the little like plastic little dude here. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice plastic piece. And I got some upgrades for each of it was weird about this pack was, I guess I didn't realize it. Sometimes these upgrades that you get, they don't upgrade everything. They don't give you everything you need, but in the players themselves, you know how you get like the big tokens and then the small tokens that they look just the same. Mm-hmm. Well, I got big. So I got a colored. Okay. I got these. Oh, you got the same thing?
No, these are like wood.
Oh, yours are wooden? Okay, mine are like plastic.
They came with the deluxe, yeah. So you got the acrylic.
So the character, like instead of a little orange tile, I get this plastic orange little smiley face.
Yeah.
And it's colored for each player, so that was updated. But the And then I got what if you're happy and sad. So these are those are kind of cool looking. But what I find weird is that
this makes for a great audio podcast, by the way.
It does make for a great audio podcast. I'm showing the sample, so I apologize. But like the small, like these, you have to have the small one and the large one, which is I forgot what this was for, the conversation piece. So I got like a big one, which I think goes on your main board for scoring. And then you have to have the small ones for your travel itinerary. And it's like, well, why didn't they make the small ones as well, just the big ones? It's like, so I've still got cardboard in here. And I need that meeple source. Come on. And I need plastic tickets. I'm still in cardboard. What's up with that?
I know.
But it was still cool. I love having these upgrades.
Look at this thing. I don't know if you ever saw these.
Oh, the bowls.
Yeah.
The nice ceramic bowls.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever use them?
Yeah. It's a little annoying that I have to keep a separate box for them.
All right. So there ends our video portion, right?
They come in a box as big as the main game box.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Those look like really nice bowls. That's quite a nice little set, but...
Yeah.
Now, is that to hold the tokens when you're playing the game?
Yep.
Is that what they're for?
They're for cereal.
Cereal?
For snacks. Soup, miso soup. Yeah. You put some mochi in there. Yeah. But, so that's my number 4. Let's go to Japan.
All right. My number 4 is one I just got recently and was talking about it earlier, is a Stamp Swap. I really, really like this game. It's about stamp collecting. And that's why I'm like, this just doesn't sound fun. But it is, one thing I like about this, that I've never played a game where it's like, I choose, you pick type of thing. So one of the things in this, it's stage, there's different stages you're going to go through while you're playing, and you're drawing stamps or what do they call them, like these specialists through
And we lose your audio. Yep. Somebody's batteries went out. That's unfortunate. So you can work, see if you can get a microphone switched out, or switch to the unit that's on the whatever PC that you have there. So yeah, Mark was talking about Stamp Swap, his number 4. Do you think you're going to get it switched over, Mark? I'm assuming you can hear me. He gave me a finger, but it's the one that means number 1, not that one next to it. That means something else. But so it's interesting to hear about Stamp Swap, and I heard so many good things about Stamp Swap back in. I hear something.
Test.
You are back live and in effect.
It's going to sound different.
Yeah, it's fine.
Probably. I was hoping to switch to one of the other mics, but like the software's not allowing me to do that.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
So
you were talking.
Plug that mic in, and it's sitting now in front of my monitor.
That's okay. So Stamp Swap, get back on task.
Stamp Swap, great game. It's like you're drafting stamps from the center pool that everyone has to pick from. So you're picking different things, and then you get to this point where you got to split all your stuff that you took into groups, and then you split, like I split my stuff, and then someone else, like the player next to you, gets to take from one of the piles that someone else has, and then so whoever takes one of my piles, I get to keep the other one. So it's kind of interesting where you're like, okay, I want this, but you don't want to make one pile so attractive that they take it. So you also kind of have to give away some things that you think, or you're trying to figure out how best to split your stamps so you keep what you want. And I think it's a really neat mechanic that I've never played before. But the game plays well. There's these public goals that everyone can use to try to boost your scores, and it's a lot of fun. It really is a great little game, and that's Stamp Swap, my number 4.
Okay, my number 3 is River Valley Glassworks. So Mark talked about this one a little bit ago. Very fun game, and I also enjoyed winning the games on BGA when we played that as well.
Whatever. I'll smoke you at the con.
Okay. Deal. Done deal. All right. You're next. Right. Number 3.
So my number 3 is Wormspan, another Stonemaier game. So I was a big fan of Wingspan, but I think Wormspan it takes all the goodness of Wingspan and gets rid of kind of the annoying things, mainly the birdhouse, which I thought was a cool. I mean, it's neat, the idea of the birdhouse, but it was annoying, and it so often kept you from being able to get the food items that you needed. And I think Wormspan kind of upgraded that ability, got rid of that. You can go when you need to get resources and food, you can take what you need. I like the way the mechanic works a lot better in Wormspan. There's more to the game by introducing a guild, and there's so many things to this game that I think it's a better overall game. Not to put down Wingspan, it's fantastic, but I just think Wormspan expands upon it and improves upon that formula and is a much better game to play. And that is my number 3, Wormspan.
My number 2 is Draft and Write Records, which
Mark talked about. Catching up.
Yeah, where you talked about it a little bit ago. And, this is definitely a fun game. We played so much of this on BGA that it was actually funny, like playing the physical copy after playing, I don't know, 20 games on BGA, maybe. I don't think it was that many, but it sure felt like it.
It was a lot.
Yeah, easily a dozen games, probably. It is so funky to play the real deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've played it since we played it, or played the physical version since we played the online version, but you just get so used to the online version with this game. At least I did. That I struggled a little bit with the regular version, but it's a fun game. Draft and Write Records. That's my number 2.
All right, my number 2 might get a flag on the play because it did release in 2024, but it's still not available in the US. So, but you and I played it, and you own it because you were smart and bought it right away. And I waited, and when I went to get it, it was all sold out at Gen Con.
And you stood there waiting for me to buy it.
I even pointed it out to you. That's the one where I'm like, oh, they don't have
it's over there.
Like, it's right there. See that big box that says Spectacular, that whole wall of them?
Yeah.
Had I known
that was your
amazing game.
Yeah, that was your spectacular vision that helped me buy it. Yeah.
Yes, and then we played it. But I don't think we played it till the next day. No, we must have played it that day because we played like 2 games of it. Because you wouldn't have brought the game with you. You didn't bring games with us to Gen Con, so it was the day you bought it. But we played.
Did we play it at the con, or did we?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because when we finished our second gameplay of it, I stood up and I'm like, I'm gonna go buy this. And that was right as they were shutting the retail section. And then we found out later that night that they had sold out of all their copies.
Yeah, they didn't have a whole ton of them.
So this has been on pre-order since August, and I don't expect to get it till next year. But I think it released in Essen, and it's on its way to the States at some point. So, But this is I was just had so much fun with this game. I can't wait to get this and introduce my game group to it. Spectacular is just, it is, I mean, it's a perfectly named game. The game is spectacular. I just can't say enough good things about it. That's my number 2.
So I was just looking it up online. I guess originally it was a January 2025 release, and it may have been pushed back a little bit.
No!
So hopefully it'll be out early. Hopefully early 2025. I think I said 2024. But yeah, so that was your number 2, right?
That was.
And that's my number 1. So my number 1 is Spectacular.
Oh, nice.
Just, dice, animals, simultaneous play. What's not to like? It's definitely a fun little game. Definitely enjoyed it. And it made my number 1 for the year. So that's Spectacular.
Nice. That's really cool. My number 1 has to be Skyrise from Roxley Games. This was one I looked at, and the art, the theme didn't really appeal to me, but like it was something that I kind of wanted to try. I think it was the components. It was all these extras that like I probably wouldn't like the game if I bought the retail version, even though you're fine with it, but and I probably I still would have enjoyed the game, but I think it was a different experience. And I was looking at the gorgeousness, the beauty of the deluxe ultimate premium, whatever it's called, edition with the amazing buildings. Was like, I have to look at this. And when I looked at it, I'm like, this is so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And I decided to put the money down, and I was worried the whole time. And I love this game. I got a friend in my game group. She had bought the retail version, and every time we played this, it was because I brought it. And she'd always comment, "Mark, you ruined my game." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Because mine is garbage now. Yours is so nice." And she told me a couple weeks ago, she's like, she bought the premium edition of the game. So now she has 2 copies, but she travels a lot, so she's taken 1 copy with her to where she goes. So she has her retail somewhere else. But Skyrise is it's an absolute beautiful game on the table. It is so much fun. I'm not a big fan of auction games and this one is absolutely amazing. So much fun. I'm hoping that they put something out that we can add to this. I don't know how you would, but if they do, I'm buying it. I absolutely love Skyrise, and everyone that has played this in my groups have been just, this is awesome. It's one of those that people walk by and they stop and they're looking at it and they're like, what is this?
Ooh,
and
shiny.
It is an eye catcher. So Skyrise is my number 1 game of the year for 2024.
Very nice. So there you have it, our top 10s for 2024. And
so let us know. You can. I obviously, Rob copied me on all mine. So Spectacular, Draft
you got
and Ride,
me there.
River Valley. Yeah, your top 3 were things that were in. I'd already stated. So he was a copycat.
Well, they just happen to be games that we play together too.
True, that's true. That's why they're number 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you played them with me. That's
the experience,
why.
Yes.
So
for sure. So
all right.
I believe that's it. That's it for this fun, exciting episode. Episode number 87.
Correct.
Got that correct this time.
Yay!
Yeah. So do you have anything else to add, or should we close it out?
I think we should wrap it up.
All right. So thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed listening about our list. We'd love to hear what you think is your best games of, or what are your best games of 2024. Please let us know. I am Rob. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you all in 2 weeks. Or When's the next one? Are we going to do it next year? Or are we
probably next year, because in 2 weeks is Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's right.
So we will probably be back in the new year, unless you want to do one.
We can do one later that year. I mean, not later. Later that week.
See you next December.
Yeah.
We'll be back when we're back. We may not be back till next year, but we may surprise you with maybe we can get something in between Christmas and New Year. So
yeah.
All right. And I'm Mark, and we'll see you at the table.